I started as a virtual assistant. And I would have all these people coming to me going, I downloaded this PDF and we're going to follow their flow. We're going to do this. Can you just implement this? And as a virtual assistant, I was handed the materials, right? And I just made it happen. I didn't actually consult in the marketing process. I didn't help them with any kind of strategy. And I just implemented it. But the whole time I'm doing it, I'm like, I don't think that this is going to work. And sure enough, it didn't work. So even when I would try to voice my opinion, I was leveraged as a virtual assistant, which is not someone who knows anything about marketing. So my opinions were taken with kind of a grain of salt, and I didn't really do it too forcefully because I'm like, well, what do I know, right? But what I discovered is as a consumer who would purchase their programs or get services or offerings or whatever it is, I know what would interest me. And I know kind of like what I would follow if I was to follow, you know, a user journey or buyer journey. And I knew where the pitfalls were. So I was like, you know what? I'm not letting people pay me anymore to implement really crappy marketing campaigns. I'm getting involved and I'm going to make sure they know that I have a few opinions and I'm going to tell them my opinions so that they have a successful launch or have a successful course, or so that all the pieces are set. Or if things aren't working, I know how to diagnose why and where the issue is.
Yeah.
To fix it.
That's awesome. So when you took that full plunge, and we've talked about this before, of, changing completely gears to Lisa M. Gale, digital marketing, an agency, you have your team, all of these things. Did you see that that's where it was going for your business?
Yeah, you and I met right at the time I was thinking about swapping, and then just, kind of went for it. And it was like helpful to kind of talk to people about what I knew and discover I knew more about it than I thought I did. Like I was in a good spot for it. And it was almost like a switch turned. When I marketed myself as a marketing expert, people would start to ask my opinion. And I'm like, oh, we should do this, that, and the other. And they're like, oh, that's cool. And I get it. But there was no conversations back and forth as a virtual assistant. It was the business owner had done all the research on their own or purchased a course. Or, had their coach tell them to do X, Y, and Z. And the interesting thing was, you get what you pay for a lot of times, and these were not customized for them. Whereas I was in their business and I knew it very intimately, and I could suggest things along the way to say, here's what we need to do, and you're missing the mark here, and here's the broken piece of our funnel and our user journey.
Right.
So
right. I hear that. And the strategy is one of my favorite things. And I love that too. And it isn't, you and I have talked about this before too. It isn't a one size fits all, let's put you in a box, and the systems and things can be, you adapt them for your need, right? Like the ops piece. But as far as the actual strategy of using it, it's not just cookie cutter.
It isn't cookie cutter, but a lot of people tell you it is. And it isn't magic. There's an awful lot of hard work that goes in behind the scenes. And you can see when a business owner is really invested in doing that hard work that they're going to succeed. They're absolutely going to. And I like to work with people like that who are willing to do that hard work instead of going, well, I saw, this webinar where they said, just do this, that, and the other. Well, yes, you can focus on that, but you have to do the work too. Like that business owner, that there's work involved in it. It's not just like flip a switch and, hey, can you do all the work for me? The strategy is where we come in and really start to agitate all the ideas and get everything flowing so that, the world is your oyster. But you can't just say, hey, can you just, make me $1 million? Like there's so much more that goes into it.
Yeah. And how do you, so you brought up a really good point too. So how do you deal with your clients, or do you motivate try to motivate your clients when you can see that their commitment isn't there, which you need from them to be able to execute a successful strategy.
Yes, 100%. So if a client comes to me and says, hey, why isn't this working? Or if a client comes and says, hey, I want to make this happen, how? I will do, it's basically like a same process for each client, but there's some research that goes into it. So all of the pieces of the research, which you know I'm a standard operating procedure junkie, I just copy and paste my SOP file for the research portion, and I just get to work. So a lot of it is competitor research, SEO research, pricing research, marketing research. Like you want to know why is my competitor, why is that guy doing really well? Well, let's investigate and see why. Like all of these pieces are flowing, and here's the amount of work they're putting in. I can write for people, but I can't really write everything for them. There are particular things that people have to participate in. So the best way to do that with my clients is we hop on a phone call and I ask them the questions. As I'm taking notes and writing it out, I'm like, that's exactly what I needed. If you talk to someone, carve out that time to talk to someone in your busy day, you can talk about things all day long. That practice of being a writer or putting, pen to paper or typing out on your keyboard, that is very difficult for people. So that's the part where I come in and make sure that we're moving things forward in that way.
Right.
Thanks for joining me today on Marketing Chats. I would love your feedback, so leave me a comment. And if you like hearing more tips from seasoned pros, just like and subscribe Ray Green at Marketing Solutions on YouTube.